The following is a non-profit fan-based review. Carranger, Super Sentai, and all other related properties belong to Toei, Bandai Japan, and all other rights holders. Power Rangers Turbo, and all other related properties belong to Haim Saban, Sabana Entertainment, Bandai America, and all other relevant rights holders. Please support the official release and buy the DVD from a Shout Factory. Or don't, I mean $50 seems kinda pricey for a Carranger Shout Factory. Hello and welcome to Mattwo's Random Reviews. Hard to believe it's been 4 years. Now, looking back, I've got to admit, my first review of Power Rangers Turbo episode 22, the pizza episode, wasn't really the best. I later saw Database Ranger's review of that very episode, and I realized I might have been a bit harsh on it. Although if there's one thing I definitely won't ever go back on, it's how Demetria lied about the team cannon decimating any foe. My stance on how much of a Gary Stu Justin was, however, is subject to change, but it's definitely not changing right now. So to make up for that review, I thought maybe I'd do a positive review of a good episode of Power Rangers Turbo, but then I saw the Mounties review of the Japanese version of Mewtwo Strikes Back, and I realized I can make things especially interesting by reviewing the episode's Carranger counterpart instead. I think I might even be able to fix a few of my mistakes while I'm at it too. Well, aside from the fact that I called Carlos Adam as the Carrangers don't pass the torch like the Turbo Rangers did, but I just covered that. So it's a win-win-win scenario. Cue the new intro for Story Arc 2, which apparently started when Nightmare Moon showed up. And come to think of it, when is our universe's Discord going to... Our episode begins with a rather bored, lonely space traffic cop signalman at his police box, Coburn Base, which sadly cannot travel through time. He then receives a letter from his son, Sigtaro, on Planet Police. It turns out Policians apparently naturally have helmets for heads and light blue skin, but otherwise look pretty human, which most likely means Signalman wears armor. Sigtaro wants Signalman to return to police so that they can compete in a three-legged race, which is the main character conflict episode. Signalman daydreams of competing in the race as his wife Sigu cheers them on, but ultimately decides that his duty of protecting Earth comes first. In a bout of clumsiness, though, he knocks over his bike, somehow damaging it. Not very sturdy technology for something that's meant to be used on the road and help him fight crime, honestly now. Later, the Carrangers indulge in the last cold ramen of the summer season, but Signalman tries to interrupt them to repair his bike. Amusingly, they don't notice him at first, though, so he has to yell at them.
Rohon! Police speeder no shuri o tanomu. Signalman! Itsunumani?
Meanwhile, the evil biker gang Bozak are setting up for an annual summer festival. Elgar's counterpart, the surprisingly far more competent Zelmonda, laments that they're suffering from a recession due to the Carrangers constantly beating them, but shrugs it off to enjoy the festival. But Divatog's counterpart, the significantly less evil Zonette, brings in Mad Mike's counterpart XX Milano, who plans to make a Carranger pizza.
そうなの。ピザをバカにするなの。美味しくないの。交通違反してたの。うまくいったの。 企んでるの一味違うのしばしないの
Jeez, and I called Mad Mike's accent offensive. I take it back, this is a million times worse. Rygog's counterpart Dynamo insists that their festival is more important, which Zanette easily agrees with. She goes off to get ready as Milano goes off to enact his plan on his own. Back on Earth, the Bozak alarm goes off as Largo and Demetrius' counterpart Dap tries to inform the Carrangers but notices Signalman. Turns out Signalman doesn't know their secret identities, so they have to keep them a secret, as well as keeping Dap a secret for some reason. As while Signalman discusses his dilemma, Dap dresses up like a human with sunglasses to hide his identity and inform the Carrangers of Bozak's presence on Earth. This plan nearly backfires as Signalman insists that they stay and fix his bike even faster so that he can go after the Bozak, but Dap uses his car magic to fix it instantly, confusing Yellow Racer Natsumi in the process. And now, only 6 minutes in, it's time!
Carranger!
Huh, Signalman sure is a stickler for the rules, isn't he? The Carrangers arrive at the park where Milano is and discover their friend Ichitaro there eating pizza Milano just gave him for some reason. Signalman scolds the Carrangers, then rushes off after Milano, but manages to drop the letter from Sigtaro, which Ichitaro picks up and reads. Snooping as usual, I see. Milano spots Signalman, but he's not good for a pizza, so he tricks him into thinking that there are pizzas elsewhere committing traffic crime.
実はすっごく美味しそうなピザがあっちの道に集団交通違反してたの。
ピザが集団交通違反？そのピザを取り締まりに行かねば。
Jeez, I call Blue Centurion a digital dummy. I take it back, this is a million times worse. I mean, he's more relatable as we learn in this episode, sure, but he's kind of a bigger moron. The Carrangers catch up and Milano assaults them with explosive pizzas. I catch. Mattwo's Random Reviews will return after these messages. We now return to Mattwo's Random Reviews. Outback and Hound show up to help but get mind-controlled by whoa, deja vu. So just like before, the two living cars, which are not actually named Outback and Hound if you missed the reference, picture Hound doesn't even turn into the same kind of car as the red one, attack the Rangers and they get baked into a giant pizza, but this time, this happens first. Milano even recites the recipe just like Mad Mike did. However, for some reason, Saban cut the part where the Carrangers were engulfed in flames. Meanwhile, a frustrated Signalman meets back up with Ichitaro, who gives him back the letter and asks him if he's going home. Signalman says no, but Ichitaro asks him if he even wants to go back. He hesitates, but then he notices the smoke coming from the giant oven. Signalman shows up and says nothing until he notices the Carrangers. He attacks Milano and tries to free the Carrangers, but Milano strikes back and the two living cars attack him. Milano starts to attempt to eat the Carrangers and... Ugh, Japan sometimes. The two cars come back around and turns out it's not special attack. I guess evil pizzas really are simply no match for a simple stoplight. Huh. I kinda feel sorry for the humans and aliens who can't perceive the color red that are being discriminated against here, though. Oh well. Without any one-liner, Signalman frees the Carrangers, and the six go on the offensive. Red Racer summons the Team Cannon, which they actually got in the previous episode, where it actually did decimate a foe with it, and it still does nothing against Milano, yet they seem awfully happy about it for some reason. For a while there, I thought that Saban had botched the roll call, which actually made me angrier about that, but it turns out the only difference is that it's cries of frustration in Power Rangers Turbo instead of cheers of joy. They don't even do their roll call in this episode. Milano uses a pizza topped with the stuff that the Monsters of the Week use to grow big, Emo Yokon, much to Signalman's frustration. Okay, seriously, what does that even have to do with traffic safety? You know, this is probably why the Deca Rangers don't let him be in Space Squad, even though he kind of owes them for watching over his body during the events of Gokaiger. Signalman summons his robot Sirender and fights Milano, followed closely by the Carrangers and their RV robo, and together they destroy Milano. Signalman goes back to lamenting as Ichitaro watches. The Carrangers thank him for his help, and in an inner monologue he reveals the other reason he can't leave. He needs to help the Carrangers, or at least so he thinks. He agrees to continue helping them, and Ichitaro and Signalman run towards each other, but they're assaulted by explosive playing cards. What, is Gambit a villain now? No, actually, it's Zelmonda, showing how much more competent he is than Elgar, grabbing Ichitaro without anyone else even ordering him to do so, thus ending the episode on a cliffhanger. This does, however, bring up the question of why he's doing this now, when he seemed to care more about the Bozak Festival. Although I can't blame him for doing this now in spite of complaining about the recession, as it comes before Dap's kidnapping, makes it perfectly apparent that kidnapping never ends well for them. Also, it turns out that instead of his sword being made of an entire bone, the length of his sword's blade is apparently made out of gravity-defying poker cards. Huh. Nice effect, but it really makes me wonder how they did that. While this episode wasn't really the greatest, it was definitely a vast improvement over its Power Rangers counterpart, if not only for the character development Signalman gets here. It actually makes me wish that Blue Centurion was also an alien fodder instead of just a robot. Overall, I'd give this episode a stoplight out of 5. I mean 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 is what I meant. Until next time,
Mattwo, I have come to kill you.
Deja vu. You know, considering what I learned about Dap while researching my Phantom Ranger video, I can't help but wonder why he doesn't use his car magic powers to become RV Master.